2022 spring bear hunt. Heading up a tributary. We've walked about 4 or 5 miles upstream, taking a little water break. Get some more little water out of this little stream over here somewhere. And on this episode of Learn As You Go, it's kind of like that game in grade school where you'd spin the globe and then stick your finger to it, see where you're going on vacation. I decided I want to go on a Idaho spring bear hunt, and I just started running around Google Earth finding some places that had some green avalanche chutes and stuff in it, and with the road that I could get close enough I could walk in. So I got it all planned out, and then when I think about it later on, I'm like, I bet there's snow in those little forest roads. So I joined some off-road groups on Facebook from Idaho, and sure enough, when I ask in there, everybody's like, no, that road is snowed over till July. Sometimes there's drifts in places. And I noticed a lot of little landing strips in the area I was wanting to hunt, so I found a few little airports around there, and I sent some emails out and got some back. And Jim Air told me there's a certain price for this plane, and it could hold up to maybe 3 people, and it's the same price for one person. So I started thinking maybe I should get another hunter or two to go with me. And I was telling my mom, and she said, hey, do you mind if I go and I'll pay half? And I said, not at all. She's turning 60 the next month, but she is a endurance beast. She's ran a lot of marathons and Spartans and stuff like that. They say that your body will quit long before your mind does, but I think my mom might be the exception here. She's mentally really tough. I've seen her at the end of marathons forget who people are and all kind of crazy stuff. She could push herself really hard. I knew she'd be fine. She's excited about it. The first day, I took her a backpack with 45 pounds in it, and later that day she texted me. She said, well, I went 8 miles with it. I think that's a good start. I was like, well, I think you're probably ready. But she worked out pretty much every other day for a month or two leading up to this. About 6 or 7 miles in, I spotted some bighorn rams up on the hill, so I pulled the spot and scope out, checked them out. That'd be the dream one day, drawing a tag to be able to hunt them in there. It is pretty cool to try to decide which one you would shoot if you ever had a tag. I don't know if I'll ever have to make that decision, but there's 3 pretty cool looking rams, different how they, some curled tight and some real wide. About 12.5 miles up the trail, we found a really good flat spot. It started raining on us, so we set the tents up in the dark. It's the second day. Found us a good flat spot to put the tents right before dark. It's a real good spot. It's started raining last night. It's supposed to stop this morning. It's foggy on top of the mountains. It's snowing right here. The tent's a little lower, it's raining. You start hiking up, it turns into snow. I'm just gonna hike around where I can see so the weather breaks, and then we'll go back get the tents. And we're trying to hunt our way all the way back to the landing strip over the mountain. But we may set up a base camp, and then I can hunt out from there. And then come back down the same trail. It's too steep or too much snow on top. Just gonna peek around over here and see what we can see. I'm getting up higher where I wanted the glass from. Still quite a ways up there, but everything's covered in snow here. I think I'm gonna start heading back down and hunt lower little places around the river. I think my scale was a little bit off looking at the map. I was wanting to build glass, a whole bunch of different little avalanche chutes from up here, but it's gonna be too snowy. I don't think I can get to where I can see. So I might have to just jump into little drainages along the main trail. We're good 16 miles from the, or at least probably further than that from where the plane dropped us off. Mom's about 4 miles down the trail that way where we left the tent. I think I'm gonna turn around and head back. I gave Mom my black diamond tent to use, and turns out it leaks quite a bit. So after it was pouring in her tent, I put a trash bag on it to try to help her out. This was the best flat spot we had. We stayed there 2 nights. And I usually don't bring a stove or a chair. A lot of stuff I brought for her, she carried it. She really enjoyed the stove. I really enjoyed that chair. It's pretty comfy when you get back from a long hike. Mom sat down and get some more water. I was around that corner around the other White Mountain this morning. Yeah, let's take some lunch. Start a little camp. Mom's in the Black Diamond, I'm in the Kuyu. I think I'm gonna head up this little peak right here. Now, let me see what I can see over that way, another side. Morning, day 3. We just packed up. Had our tents right here. We found a good flat spot. Went up on that peak over there, 1,800 feet above us, and I could see up far up in those ranges you could see, and I don't see any green grass at all. Don't see any bears, so headed back about 5 miles, and there's some more green spots on the map over in some little ridges. So we're gonna sit up there and then look around that area. The eagle's got a cool spot. There's a big nest behind those pointy rocks. One thing that really shocked me about the place, and maybe because it's a fly-in so far out, is there's game everywhere. On every hillside, there's deer, sheep, elk, just all over. I'm not used to that. In Alaska and Colorado, I mean, you can go for miles and not see anything, and you got to find the elk. But yeah, anywhere you look up on the hill, you could find game. That's pretty cool. There's also dead deer and elk everywhere also. I think maybe mountain lions, bobcats, maybe some wolf action. I had 2 wolf tags and a mountain lion tag just in case I got lucky. This is a cow elk, still had the head on. Everything looked like this is dried skin and a rib cage. Just there's deer like that everywhere. The views are just crazy everywhere. I mean, it's pretty just anywhere along the trail everywhere. We got to our next camping spot. We found a kind of a flat spot. That tree's leaning that way, so don't smash us. Mom's sitting in her little chair, eating something. I'm fixing to take off up here, and there's some drainages behind that stuff. We'll look in. Ran into them sheep a lot of places, and they weren't too scared of me either. They perched up there like it's nothing. It's weird how steep it is, and a lot of times the camera flattens it out, but it's like you're on a ski hill, and you're always a little bit nervous because the way the land rolls, you can't never see too far below you, and it just drops out of view, but it's just bunches of love grass everywhere. Finally found my first bear up here, 1,500 feet. You can try to cross over there. I was pumped. It's dark black, and then I look at the spot and scope out, and I found 2 cubs. I was so pumped to finally see a bear. I was really bummed when I seen the cubs. I was texting Dave back home, can you make sure you can't shoot one with cubs? Because these cubs are really big. They're fixing to be kicked out of the home. And I guess because it's not as dense a vegetation here, they move around a lot. They went way off to the left, then they come back further to the right than where I seen them. But they move all around the hill just kind of randomly. Found a second bear, yes. This one's where I originally was going to look. It's in the middle of the avalanche chute. Both are, that female with cubs would be hard to get to, but both of them are in a crazy spot. It's about 800 yards from me, but 900 feet down and back up. Pretty steep over there. That 900 feet is probably an exaggeration. I'm just saying it's a long ways down and back up on the other side. I always feel like 90% of it is just finding the game. So now that I found it, I was pumped, and I always feel like, yeah, I've already got this bear. I just got to make it happen now. I'm usually pretty confident once I see it, I can get it. So I'm already thinking about the sausages I'm going to make and the roast I'm going to smoke. Pretty pumped up. Just got to put it into action and finish it. I feel like it's a pretty decent bear, too. It's really hard to judge bears, and I ain't never shot one, so I don't really know, but I'm pumped about it. Thinking the thermal's maybe coming downhill in the middle of that chute. See if maybe there's a rock ledge over here to the right I could pop over. I think he'll probably just sit in that spot. There's a lot of green grass and water right there. As I pop over the rock, I get lucky and spot it moving to the left. It already walked quite a bit, and it's coming through the brush, and then I think it's going to come right there into the open. I'm ranging everything around me. It's going to be between 200 and 300 yards. Start doing the math in my head. Where I have it set, it's going to be 2 inches high at 200, 3 inches low at 300. So I think it's pretty good in the middle. And then I spot it in the trees at 300, and I think I probably should just take the shot right there. As soon as I get the safety off, start to squeeze the trigger, it drops down behind some brush. And then I wait at least 15 minutes. I think it's got to come out right here. Back behind there was also a little trail I arranged at 400 yards. And then sure enough, it pops out there heading straight away from me. So I dial the scope up real quick and then get on it. And I notice there's some tree limbs in the way of that little trail. So I don't have a shot, and then it walks out of view again. So I have to jump up and then take off down this next ridge and up the other side, chasing it at this point. It's still so strange how the camera flattens everything out, because you can see I'm trying to kind of stumbling around because it's at a steep angle, trying to lean back. Usually got my hand on the upside of the hill, and I got to cross this creek and then run up the other side. Hopefully I can get a shot. It's starting to get dark on me too. I made my way around a few little ridges on the side of the hill looking up, and did not see him until it got too dark to see. So then I had to head back in the dark. It's day 4. Yesterday evening I climbed up here and I found a black bear down in there. Found a sow, 2 cubs over here. Just got up there. It took me 2.5 hours. I left at 6 this morning. It's like 8:30. And I found him again. He's up there. Last night I was down over here and I seen him at 400 yards up here. So I ran down and back up here. And he went up in there somewhere, and I kept making my way around here, trying to look up, see if I could see him. And I thought I probably messed it up because I've been walking around all in there. Come down in the middle of the drainage. But yeah, he's up higher, higher. And now the thermal's gonna be going uphill. Last night I had the wind right in my face the whole time, so I felt pretty good about it. Right off, I'm thinking, this bear looks a little bare. You see some skin through there, and that female kind of looked like that with the cubs. It was scratching a lot and stuff, a little bit mangy maybe. Trying to watch him for a little bit. I need to start heading over there. Trying to eat and drink something. I want to make sure he stays in that spot. The sun's probably going to hit him. I don't think it's a very big bear, but it'll make it easier to carry down this mountain. Well, it's a good thing I waited a little bit longer. Just moved over to the left, and then the 2 cubs come running down the hill to it. So that's the female with the cubs. After glassing a couple hours, I head back down to camp, and we decide to head up the creek and look at some more spots I wanted to look at. Hindsight, I probably really should have stayed there and hunted that area. He had to be up there somewhere. We found another place to put the tents, and I head back up the mountain, and this was just a terrible spot this evening. I kept climbing, and you can't see anything, and you get to the drainage, and it's way up high, and it was pretty scary getting up there. All I seen was some sheep, and then I had to make my way back. Way to the tent to raid, and the ticks are trying to get in. There's ticks everywhere out here. Keep pulling them off of me. Safe in the tent, though. In morning day 5, I head up the next drainage downstream. I get up with it raining, tucked up here. Trying to look up here in the stuff behind me, but it doesn't go too far. And it's so steep and rocky right here to get up here. But I'm looking across the way now. I don't think I can get across that river if there's something over there, but while I made it up here, I was gonna glass it over, see if I see anything. There was a rainbow in the middle between me and over there, but it's gone. That's our tent set up that night. I get back to camp and I catch Mom looking through binoculars, so I'm able to sneak up on her. I wish I'd have zoomed in the video a little bit closer. I tested out there, but I'm afraid I'll miss it. I went up this hill behind me. I just got back. Scared the far out of my mom. She packed all my stuff up in my tent, and then she took off. She's going to jump in the hot springs to clean off. Try before we get to the landing strip. Then I'm going to follow behind and do the same. And then we're going to set up camp, and then there's some like less steep rolling hills up behind the landing strip. We'll have the sun on our back and the wind in our face. I think she's going to go up with me. Spot and scope. There's not as many trees there, but it'll be easy to get up on some peaks and look around. I think we fly out tomorrow morning. So I'm just making myself drink this water so I can fill it back up again before I hit the trail. Get the iodine in it. And then I ate some food. I was walking along here. The stream's pretty loud, but Mom dropped her glove. She was ahead of me. I picked it up. Then I looked up the hill behind me here. There's a bear walking up there. Keeps disappearing. It's really dark chocolate black. It's a dark brown. Really dark though. I'm trying to make sure there's no other cubs. I think the bridge to get across is right here. And I could probably get up on that hill. It's also just 450 yards. So I might take a shot too. It's a pretty easy shot. I'm gonna sit here and watch, make sure I don't have any cubs. It was staying pretty good hid behind the tree, so hard to tell a lot about it. For a second, I'm like, you really got to make sure this is not a grizzly bear too, since I couldn't get a good look at it. There's not supposed to be any where we were at, but that'd be terrible if we shot a grizzly bear. Try to run down this trail, find the bridge, so I get back up over there. It's moving uphill pretty quick. Makes best bet is try to leave my stuff and get closer. Just take the processing stuff with me and back up there. If I can find the bridge. Found the bridge. Fixing to chop off my water. Gonna drink my water. Look at that climb. I'm 700 yards. I think it's where I last seen it 40 minutes ago, but it's curled up in a ball behind the tree. I got this tree behind me when I go over the hill, so it'll be silhouetted. Just peek over. I'll try to make it around. I'm flip this camera. It's over there on that little knob. So I'm gonna try to come around here, then there's a little saddle. If I can get closer. The wind's kind of coming towards me, but it's kind of swirling back and forth. You can see him right there. He said this is 680. There's a little bluff around here. There's little rocks that are 110, but still be 570. I'm gonna have to go lay down and come around the ridge he's on. This ridge is just too far away for a shot. I could step around 500, but I don't want to do that at all. Wind's pretty much right at me. I just gotta hope I can come up there without spooking him and find him before he finds me. I'm at 650. That next little ridge is 250. So when I come down and back up, it'll be at 400. And look from there. I had to come across this view a few times, but he's kind of down in a little hole. Dead tree ahead of me. Should be under 400 yards. Almost that tree. I spotted him down there on the trail. I made it to the tree, and it's still at 425. I was thinking if I went back and hid behind the little cedar tree up ahead of me, I might get 50, 75 yards closer. So I had to go back and get it. I get at that next little green tree, and I'm at 385 yards horizontally. And I get my backpack up in front of me, get lined up on the hill. Feel pretty comfortable where I'm at. My rangefinder has the drops at 7,000 feet elevation, so I pull my phone out and check what the drops would be at 1,300 feet. At home, I have that saved on my phone. There's hardly any difference at that range. There's 4 inches of wind at that distance. It's pretty extreme uphill, so it'd be a little bit more wind because it's really further than that. But I'm thinking most of the wind is coming towards me. On the other hill, there seems to be hardly any wind up there. So I put the safety on, I squeeze the trigger a few times on it. It's still laying behind the hill. And then it kind of stands up and looks to the right. And as you can see from my facial expression, not good, not so good. And then you immediately start trying to make yourself feel better. Start saying little cliches in your head, Well, if I got him, I would have won today. But since I didn't get him, I'll win every day after this from the lessons I've learned. And then I started thinking, that's what people that lose tell themselves. You just need to accept it. Here's where it was laying. Stood up, facing sideways right here. I was across over there. I tried to make sure wasn't a branch in the way. I kind of feel like that's what happened. The wind, it's different all over here, but it was mainly going at me. On this hill, I kept looking, there's no vegetation moving. Walking up here is pretty still till you get over the top. It's just facing straight at me. It didn't scare it too bad. And then it trotted off that way. Sickening. Drove a mile and way over 1,000 feet up and down to get here. There's nowhere else I could get unless I was poke out right above him or come from right here. It'd be 10 yards and he'd smell me. I got straight across on the other side. I come over it a little bit. There is a lot of branches between here and there. Maybe I couldn't see. Big pile of poo. I'm eating grass right here. Pretty big. I thought it was a small bear. Don't know. There's the top of this hill up here. I come down that real steep stuff. I could have come over here. I don't think, there's no way I could make it up. I was on those trees. Posted up, I took some dry fires. Maybe just too many trees shooting through. My gun could be off too. Shoot it on the way home. Might run into another bear before the plane takes off, but all the scenarios, I think that was my best bet into getting that bear. On a serious note though, that meat would be gone in a few months, probably sooner. And 30 years from now, I'll still have these memories with my mom. Fixing to clean off in the hot springs. It's pretty hot. I'm not sure I can stand it. It's pretty hot. When we go down and clean off stuff. The next morning, it was real rainy and windy, and it turns out we don't get picked up. I wish I would have known first thing. We kept waiting every hour for a new update until I was like, it ain't happening, so then I went hunting. Our plane's delayed till tomorrow because of the weather. It's still very good in the video. It's snowing pretty hard heading up this mountain. But probably be sunny and hot here in a minute. Keeps changing real fast. Sunglasses across. I'll flip the camera around. You can see a little better there. It's real thick. Looking way off. I'm up here hunting polar bears now, I think. Black bears probably all dinned up. I'm too smart. It changes so fast though. There's a spot over there that's kind of light. Then it'll clear up and then I can pull the spot and scope out. Just gotta hug up against this rock right here at the moment. There's some elk down there bedded on the side of the hill, trying to stay out of the wind. And the sun set on us that night with no bear, and we flew out in the morning and drove 22 hours back home. It was a really cool adventure. I think a couple more days I could have figured it out, got one. That tag is still good at the end of the year, so we'll see.